Destroy my clothes, enjoy your time in jail. So this happened when I was 14 or 15. My mother was married to a man who had an adult son from a previous marriage. I think he was mid-20s. He lived the hippie life, literally on the streets by choice, and about once a year or so, he would hitchhike his way to our house with his friends, do copious amounts of laundry and weed, and generally just take over as if it was their house. They even left the gas burners on once because they forgot they turned the stove on. Anyhow, like any teenage girl, I was obsessed with my clothes. I had laundry sitting in the dryer, including these awesome corduroy pants that I had only worn once. Stepbro and friends are doing laundry, and instead of doing something normal, like moving my stuff aside or putting it in my room, they decide, oh man, it would be so dope to cut these up and make like a sweet cape. So that's what they did. I saw Stepbro wearing this cape and recognized the material. "Are those my pants?" I exclaimed. "They were in the laundry, man, you know, like finders keepers." I was furious and his dad wouldn't do anything about it. My mom was pissed because she had just bought these for me and they were pricey. Mom didn't like this annual visit anyhow, but to keep her marriage, she put up with it. I wanted to get back at Stepbro, but he had nothing of value because of his lifestyle. Then I remembered I overheard my parents fighting and my mom had mentioned Stepbro had got a girl pregnant and the kid was like 2 years old and he hadn't so much as given the girl a penny or even seen the child since it was born. So the next day, my parents were at work, Stepbro was hanging out, listening to music or something. I decided to call the cops. I wasn't sure what to say, but I told the dispatcher I knew of someone who might have a warrant out for failure to pay child support. Now, before you say, how would a teenager know about that? Well, my birth father is a demon and was at one point nearly arrested for the same offense. The dispatcher asked the name of the person. I gleefully gave Stepbro's name, and they confirmed there was, in fact, a warrant out for him. I gave my address and waited. 20 minutes later, cops roll up. They knock and I let them in and lead them right to him. "He's right here, officers." I couldn't stop smiling. They cuff him and take him off to jail. An hour later, my mom calls the house after Stepbro had used his phone to call his dad, and I tell her exactly what I did. She whispered, "Good job," but then pretended to loudly reprimand me as she was with Stepdad. Stepdad couldn't get the fine and bail money together fast enough, so Stepbro had to sit in jail overnight. Still makes me happy 20 years later to remember seeing him being taken away in a cop car. My mom luckily divorced that asshole and is now married to a very nice man. This is a true story in China. When Entitled Mother had her second daughter, she decided that she doesn't want her. You see, while the family was given special permission to have 2 children, as opposed to the one-child policy, they wanted a son, and this extra girl is just an inconvenience taking up the precious spot for a boy. So they abandoned her up without hesitation. The next year, Entitled Mom got pregnant with a boy who was spoiled to death in the family. The girl ended up with an adoptive father more than 300 kilometers away from her original village. He and his wife had 3 pregnancies, but all ended up as a miscarriage. So they adopted the girl, but divorced soon after because of the stress that came with the adoption. For 16 years, he had been raising his adopted daughter on his own. The man is just a crab farmer and is nowhere rich, but he loved the girl as his own daughter. They were living a quiet and happy life together until one day Entitled Mom turned up. Turns out the son got leukemia and needed bone marrow, and no one in the family had a match. So they turned to the daughter they abandoned 16 years ago, hoping that she would be a match. The father felt sorry for the 14-year-old boy. He agreed to take the girl to a hospital for a test, but he was afraid that the girl would know she was abandoned for her gender. So he made the Entitled Mom promise to not tell her that she's adopted. The girl was a match and agreed to the procedure, under the impression that she was donating for a stranger. The adoptive father then asked for a bond for the girl's health. In the beginning, he was misled into thinking that it would be as simple as donating blood. However, when the doctors told him that donating bone marrow is a risky procedure, he was worried that if there is any complication, he won't have any means to save his daughter. The money would be returned to Entitled Mom if the girl remains complication-free when she's married. Entitled Mom refused. Then the father said, "Don't worry about the money, but the surgery needs to be near where he is living so he can take care of his daughter and work." Entitled Mother refused again, saying that it would be more expensive for them. The father hesitated, and the Entitled Mother freaking exploded. Entitled Mom, her husband, and their eldest daughter marched to the girls' school right after class, stopped the car the girl was in, pulled open the door, grabbed the girl by her arm, and started yelling at her that she was adopted. They are her real family and she needs to save her younger brother. The teachers had to physically intervene to stop them from taking her away. A bystander called the police. Even in the police station, entitled mother kept pressuring the girl for her bone marrow. The girl was in shock after knowing that she was adopted in such a violent way and cried for a whole night. This put her into a lot of psychological stress. The next day, entitled mother printed out hundreds of open letters calling both the girl and her father by name, saying that they are cold-blooded and the girl, in particular, is ignorant and doesn't understand morals. She even brought up the fact that the adoptive father experienced miscarriages to insult him. She emphasized that the boy is the girl's biological brother. She bolded that just to put more pressure on the girl. She put this around the village the girl is living in, all the way to around the girl's school, so both of them can't even go back to their home. When she was asked about this later, she said she didn't think about what that would do to the girl. She even went to the village council and said that the girl is rightfully hers and she will take the girl back and make her donate her bone marrow. Of course, she was told that the girl was legally adopted, so she has no rights over her, and if she does anything like that, it would be kidnapping. She started interfering with the girl on her way to and from school. A teacher had to drive the girl to and from school for her safety, and they even got assaulted by entitled mother's relative for their trouble. The entitled mother later went on to a television program, probably wanting to bully the girl and her father into giving up her body rights. She got ripped apart on live TV. Later they found another match on the donor database, so the boy is fine. The thing is, if she had been less entitled and cruel to the girl, she would have already donated her bone marrow. She could have doomed her son to death because of this. My church has a huge finished basement and a huge kitchen and common area, usually used for after-church coffee, donuts, and big community events. Underneath the back stairs, going into the storage space, is a little one-person bathroom meant for mainly people with disabilities and/or injuries so they don't have to go all the way back up the stairs. On to the story. About 8 months ago, I had screwed up my knee pretty bad by landing very wrong on our trampoline and was on crutches with a metal brace for a while. So during one of our breakfast fundraisers, I was sat at the end of the food tables handing out silverware. This is important because everyone who came through saw and greeted me, including our entitled mom. I decided I had to use the restroom, so I temporarily switched with my godmom and hobbled my tall ass over to the bathroom. Everything was fine for the first 2 minutes of me being in there until someone knocks on the door. Dialogue approximately as follows. "Hello, I'll be out in a minute." "All right." Mind you, I can hear her child whining about having to pee, and I recognize his voice. This is important later. A couple more minutes pass, and I'm just starting to get up when she knocks again. "I'm just getting up. 1 moment, please." "Can you hurry up? My son has to pee, and we've been waiting too long." "Ma'am, there's bathrooms upstairs. This one is meant—" "I am not gonna walk up all those stairs," literally 1 flight, "to have him use that filthy bathroom." They're clean daily. At this point, I have my pants on, and I started to wash my hands. The bathroom is small enough for me to stand without crutches, the walls and sink close enough for holding onto if necessary. I sigh, not really wanting to deal with this any longer. Apparently, washing my hands was a no-no because I hear the child whine again, and then comes, "That water is making him have to pee even more. You are torturing my child. Get out here now, or I'm getting the priest." I turned off the water and went for the paper towels. "Ma'am, like I said earlier, when you rudely interrupted me, this bathroom is for the disabled. I know for a fact that you and your child are perfectly mobile." "Then why are you in there? You don't sound disabled." What does that even mean? That was the last thing out of her mouth before I opened the door, my crutches back under my armpits. "Well, I sure feel disabled." Entitled mom's eyes widened, seeing my brace and crutches, and she grabbed her kid and bolted for the stairs. I didn't see her for the rest of the morning, and she still avoids me at mass to this day. It still makes me laugh. So I'm a lifeguard at my local pool, and this happened when I wasn't working. But I got a very detailed recount the next day from another traumatized lifeguard, so I thought I'd share. A swimmer came up to one of the lifeguards saying, I think there's been an accident in one of your toilets." We aren't allowed to leave poolside while on duty, so he radioed for another lifeguard to check it out. And oh my god. Someone had obviously had an awful case of diarrhea. The cubicle was covered in duty, all up the walls, the floor, on the toilet paper dispenser, and in every crevice available. Lifeguard 2 quickly closed the toilet and ran for the manager because they had no idea how to even start cleaning it up. This is where the entitled parent comes in. Lifeguard 1 was watching the pool as he noticed a lady and her kid, maybe 6 years old, walking on the poolside. The most important detail to note here is that the kid has duty dripping down his legs. The conversation went as follows. "Excuse me, your son can't come in the pool like that." "Oh no, don't worry. I just need to wash him off, then we'll be leaving." "What?" "I'm just gonna dunk him in, you know, just to get the worst off before he changes." "No, you're not. You can use the showers for that." "Oh, but this will be so much quicker and we're here. Plus, the showers are gross." They're not. They get cleaned at least twice a day. Pool rules say that if you have diarrhea, you aren't allowed to swim. And do you have any idea how unsanitary that is? "He'd only be in there for a few seconds. What's the big deal? My son isn't going to get anyone sick." At this point, they argued back and forth, all the while the kid was dripping duty on the floor and looking like death. After a while, the manager had noticed what was happening and came over. The situation was explained and the entitled mother tried to plead her case to him. "So, you see, I should be allowed to wash him here. It's communal water." The manager, in a voice that sounded like he was completely over stupid people today, "No, leave the pool or I will be forced to ban you." At this point, the lady finally got the message and left. I guess it just sounded more important coming from a grown man rather than a teenage lifeguard. However, in the end, it wasn't really a win for the lifeguards because they had to clean it all up. One of them threw up because of the smell as well. And by the time she'd left, another toilet mysteriously had another duty on the floor. But whatever, they haven't come back again.
Smash like, subscribe. Have you not subscribed yet? Subscribe for
Reddit upvoted.
or else there will be consequences. I am apparently Wendy Williams here. I can't speak. Thank you guys for watching another video. See you tomorrow. And as always, have a wholesome life. And I see you never. Bye.